Christine O'Donnell is under federal investigation for allegedly misusing campaign funds to pay her rent, meals, and actually a night of bowling as well, which sounds very fun. What a witch's brew of charges. And of course, she's lashing out at the usual liberal boogeymen. It's all George Soros' fault. Of course it is. Is there anything that George Soros isn't at fault for? Did you know that Soros built the iceberg that sank the Titanic? It's true. He actually had Media Matters build it for him. She even claims the vice president is part of the witch hunt. Of course he is. O'Donnell's trouble started during her failed Senate campaign when the watchdog group Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, or C.R.E.W, brought her questionable campaign expenses to light. Here's Melanie Sloan, C.R.E.W's executive director on the Ed Show in September.
Many expenses Ms. O'Donnell claimed to be campaign expenses, but were really just expenses of her lifestyle. But she had no other income, so she was treating her campaign account like it was her personal piggy bank. There was no campaign treasurer, as the law requires, for over a year and a half. So she had a Wachovia bank card that she whipped out whenever other people would use their debit card.
Melanie, you're an attorney. You got her dead in the water?
We got her dead in the water, Ed.
Wow. And on the Today Show this morning, O'Donnell launched a personal attack on Ms. Sloan.
This is the same C.R.E.W complaint that was filed several months ago by Melanie Sloan, a former Biden staffer from C.R.E.W, which is a George Soros left-wing organization. And their key witness here, this is what's most telling, their key witness was a volunteer from 2008 who was also let go.
But Ms. Sloan isn't acting alone. In O'Donnell's mind, she's just a puppet in an anti-O'Donnell, anti-Tea Party crusade spearheaded by Vice President Joe Biden. Of course, the whole world is obsessed by a conspiracy to take down this irrelevant politician who already got slaughtered in her election. Biden's like, what, Karzai's on the phone? No, I'm in the middle of this O'Donnell conspiracy here. I'll get back to him, okay? Now, here's part of O'Donnell's statement. Quote, given that the king of the Delaware political establishment just so happens to be the vice president of the most liberal presidential administration in U.S. history, it is no surprise that the misuse and abuse of the FBI would not be off the table. All right, now here to respond to O'Donnell's accusations is Melanie Sloan, the executive director of C.R.E.W. Melanie, first question is, who came up with the idea to hatch this conspiracy? Was it Biden or Soros?
I have never before been accused of being someone else's puppet, and that alone offends me. You know, strangely enough, I do not spend my time on the phone with either the vice president or Mr. Soros, and neither one of them has reached out to me to talk to me about Christine O'Donnell, both of them presumably very busy with much more important matters.
All right, so where did all this start to begin with? Where did you guys get information that she might be misusing campaign funds?
Well, we read about it in the New York Times. It wasn't something we came up with. There were many articles about it, particularly after a former O'Donnell campaign staffer made recorded calls prior to the Republican primary in Delaware. And in those calls, that campaign manager said that she had misused campaign funds and she treated her campaign funds like her personal piggy bank. And that certainly piqued our interest. And then we found another campaign staffer, former campaign staffer, David Keegan, also quoted, and we reached out to Mr. Keegan, and he told us exactly what she was doing and how she did it. He explained how she had called rent payments to his nephew, Brent Vasher, expense reimbursements, and we found those on her campaign finance forms. And based on all of that, we filed a complaint with the Department of Justice.
So, Melanie, how serious is this? You know, I know it's just the beginning here, and it looks like there's an investigation. But if it comes to fruition and she gets convicted, how much could she see jail time? Is that or no?
Well, she, of course, could see jail time, but she doesn't have any prior convictions, so it's not that likely. But it's hard to say. It depends how much money she stole. It depends how many offenses she's charged with. We're only at the preliminary stage. The Department of Justice says it hasn't yet convened a grand jury, so we'll have to see how it comes out. But we are talking about criminal felony convictions for stealing campaign funds, and there's ample evidence that that's what Ms. O'Donnell was doing. The only real question at this point is how much money did she steal, not whether she stole.
All right. Strong talk. I like it. Thank you, Melanie. We appreciate your time.